I'm new guy. This is Super Agent Adam Douglas, and this is OCW Interaction. Let's take a look at OCW Ignition.
Let's take a look at that. Now, we started out the show with Harley, Taylor, Manson, and Shug.
Right.
And they had some things going on, but you know what? There's too much to cover in a recap show, so keep your eyes peeled for more on that coming out soon.
You got it.
And we'll skip to the second match.
Absolutely.
Which, for those of you who weren't in Madoc, shame on you. It was a great show. But at Madoc, Jody DeMilo faced Xander Bale for the women's title and lost.
So that was, what, a 14-month reign?
Something like that. It was a long reign.
Longest reign in OCW history.
Getting started on her own reign, Xander Bale defended her title against newcomer Jasmine.
She's
So
pretty
let me tell you,
impressive.
she was very impressive.
Absolutely.
And I hope to see more of her coming up.
You got it.
You know who else was impressive?
Who's that?
Making their debut?
Hmm?
John Greed.
Big guy. Big
guy,
John Greed.
Scary looking guy. I'm going to do what I can to get that man's name on a contract for Team America, because in his match with CJ Felony, I mean, come on, you're facing a former OCW heavyweight champion. You've got a bit of a climb there. And he didn't do half bad.
Even though he wasn't victorious, he certainly was able to, make a statement.
He
with
put
what
up
he did.
quite a good fight against Felony, and that was pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
Definitely very
Very
impressive.
intimidating man as well.
Very intimidating man, and that's why I'm going to try and get that name on a contract, I'm telling you.
You never stop, do you?
I don't stop. Why
I
would
guess
I
that's
stop?
why you're the super agent.
That's right.
You got it.
Now,
What's next up?
next up? Tag team titles were on the line. Static Shock versus the Hunks. Before it all got started, Total Devastation came out, laid down a challenge. Whoever wins that match is going to have to face them at some point soon. And that's going to be very interesting because Felony, pretty high off his win with Greed. Who knows? Maybe he was just flapping a little bit. Who knows?
Total Devastation. I think there's the guy. That's sort of a team that when they talk, they kind of mean it. I don't think CJ was necessarily flapping his gums. We're talking about the only team in OCW that both members were a OCW heavyweight champion.
That is
CJ
true.
Felony also a cruiserweight champion,
Also true.
and Catalyst also television champion.
That is true. So, they do definitely have some credentials behind them, but it's been a long time since they were a team, so we'll see how that pans out. But in the end, it was Static Shock who were able to beat the Hunks, who I think were just simply missing Cooter. He says he was delayed at the trailer park. Who knows? He probably just couldn't find his way to the arena in amongst all the Cheetos in his car. But I digress. It was an interesting match. It was solid. And Static Shock finally took home the gold.
It took them, not to say anything against Static Shock, but it was, the third or fourth match between those two teams?
Something like that. But, hey, Perseverance.
It only takes one.
That's right, and Perseverance obviously prevailed in this case. Speaking of Perseverance, the next match, Jay Rukin versus Damien, the American Barbarian. And let me tell you, that was match of the night for me. It definitely was. It was the best match on the show. If
you can't tell by the footage, myself and everybody attending were made fools of. And who do we have to blame for that?
Who else? That's right. Jay Rukin has become the third member. I guess 2.5 because Addie's around, but the next member of Team America, and we laid a beating on Misery the Barbarian. But even better, Misery laid down the challenge one-on-one against Damien. And he was dumb enough to say he would accept any stipulation we gave.
So therein becomes Mr. Douglas's pursuit in the fourth member of Team America.
Yes, because if Misery is able to, if Misery loses the match with Damien, he joins Team America. And if by some weird, strange fluke, blaming solar flares or something, magnetism in the Earth shifting,
the planets are aligned,
that Damien loses, then he's kicked out of the Barbarian family, has to shave the beard, loses the fur, loses the chain, whole 9 yards. But that's not going to happen. Now, that match is going to take place when I get a chance to get the paperwork signed up. I've got teams of lawyers on it. This is going to be the most ironclad contract OCW has ever seen. And it'll be coming soon enough.
You're a very busy man, Mr. Douglas.
I'm a very busy man.
Appreciate you coming to talk with us about the results from Ignition.
And of course, finishing out the night was the match everybody wanted to see, 9 months in the making. Cash taking on Taylor for the provincial title.
And your thoughts on that particular happenstance?
Well, I'm happy with the result. It's the result
sure you
I
are.
expected. I mean, this is Jimmy Cash. The man can't look at a title long enough on his own without it running away laughing at him. I mean, he's been Extreme Rules champion twice now, and his title reign has lasted about as long as a moderate P.
Let's take a look.
But the guy can't hold a singles title. He was tag champion for so long because of Taylor, and we're seeing that. We're seeing it proven.
Let's take a look at the scenario. Referee Bruce West has been screwing over people left and right since about October, November, September, somewhere in there. And he's gotten to the point where he wasn't able to officiate the main event of Ignition, being between Cash and Taylor for the provincial title. However, after a completely improvised punch to the jaw from Taylor to referee Simon, fittingly, referee Bruce West filled in for him.
Well, we only have 2 refs. If Simon's knocked out, it's got to be Bruce West. Hands are tied.
Either way, whichever became of it, Bruce West took it upon himself to deliberately, and I'm not making this up, screw Jimmy Cash. Taylor had him in an Anaconda Vice submission. Jimmy Cash was able to reach the ropes. Had his hand on the ropes. It was just then that Bruce West opted to call for the victory in Taylor's favor, citing a submission. If you take a look at the footage, which I'm sure...
There's no video replay in wrestling, though. If Bruce West didn't see that Jimmy had his hand on the ropes, what can he do? I think that everybody's just overreacting, and Bruce West called it down the line like he's good.
Needless to say, for OCW National Disaster 3 on July 26th, Bruce West is now barred from the ring in the return match between Taylor and Jimmy Cash. I'm sure we'll have more on that in the coming episodes.
And, Cash isn't the only one getting a second shot at a belt. The Hunks are getting their rematch on July 26th as well. So it's going to be an interesting show. It's building up as we go along. There's always more coming out, so keep your eyes peeled on this YouTube channel, as always.
Absolutely. Keep tabs on us here on YouTube here. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, the next OCW shows are July 26th in Kingston at the Lions Club on John Counter Boulevard, 824 John Counter Boulevard. And our next show after that is the next day on the Saturday, July 27th in Deserano. Hope to see you soon, and stay tuned for more updates.